of the market.
Queen of the Chihuahua Show, Princess of the Freeways, Miss Negligee, Miss Tomato.
There was only one title in her history of being crowned anything that she turned down, and that was to be Miss Roquefort Cheese, because she said it didn't sound right.
Gaining attention and having her name on people's lips was really the thing that opened doors everywhere.
Say, Jane, you've been crowned Queen of Uranium, Miss Peanut Butter and Jelly, Miss Bluebonnet Belle of Texas, and amongst other things, I think you were once crowned Queen of Stalled Crosstown Traffic.
Oh, my.
Now, of all your honors, which title do you cherish the most?
You know which title I like?
No,
I like to be called Mother.
Touche, dear. That sums it up. You are neither naive or any of the other things.
All right.
But with her appetite for publicity whetted, there was only one place to go.
She had the bags packed. I mean, there was no hesitation and there was no time wasted. They were on their way.
In 1952, aged just 19, Jane persuaded a reluctant Paul to take the family to Hollywood. In the mid-1950s, the Hollywood Dream Factory was in full swing. After wartime austerity, the studios were busy peddling a more daring image of female sexuality. Busty blonde bombshells were the order of the day. After years of studying fan magazines, Jane knew how to oblige by dyeing her hair and making the most of what nature had given her.
From childhood on, she wanted stardom. She was very interested in becoming a celebrity. And so with her high intelligence, she figured out what did she need to do, what assets did she need to promote.
Jayne Mansfield came from a time when we did not speculate, gee, you know, is it real or is it Memorex? I mean, in those days, everything was real. You know, when you saw a girl with a 40-inch bust, you went, holy cow, because this was homegrown.
The 1950s was not a period when you wanted a Katharine Hepburn type, an intelligent woman.
The bigger the bust, the better. They just wanted hourglass-shaped women, voluptuous, and they wanted them blonde.
Blonde is now the sign of sexuality. In the 1920s, the blonde was the virginal sweet woman, but by the 50s, she's the opposite, thanks to peroxide, thanks to the ability to change the color of your hair.
Jane filled the bill. Jayne Mansfield really filled the bill in all directions.
I mean, the first thing that Jane did when she moved to Hollywood was she got the number for Paramount Studios in the telephone book and called them up.
I did a soliloquy from Joan of Arc for Milton Lewis, who was the head of casting at Paramount Studios, in order to audition, and he just seemed to think that I was wasting my, as he said, obvious talents.
It wasn't long before Jane used her more obvious talents, publicizing Underwater, a Jane Russell film.
You know, they used to do these things in Hollywood, would send out a tour of people, and they'd do little shows, and they'd come to your town, and woo-woo, and they'd have a few, you know, pretty Hollywood girls. And so I think that's all she was on that press junket, but what she did was, she completely upstaged Jane Russell, the star.
She borrowed a bathing suit that was way too small, and, you know, it didn't really matter very much because she intended, you know, on jumping into the water and coming back up without it. And that's exactly what she did.
Because while Jane would say, okay, that's enough pictures, Jane Russell, Jayne Mansfield would be going, hi, boys. I mean, wherever there was a camera, this woman was pointed toward it, man. She would just point those searchlights right at that lens. And that's why the press loved her. And the press really built her. Photographers really built her because they loved her.
And it put her on the cover of every newspaper and, you know, periodical that there was at that time.
I understand that Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell both are quietly simmering at you. First, because of your takeoff on Monroe, and secondly, because you upstaged Jane Russell at a photography studio.
Gee, I'm awfully sorry to hear that. I really didn't mean to do that. I don't remember the incident.
I see. Very interesting.
She would put herself into whatever kind of a situation would help to advance her, and that's good.
All the major studios, MGM, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, you know, they all wanted to get hold of her because she was a hot property.
Do you remember the famous picture, and I'm sure you do, of Jayne Mansfield at a Hollywood function, and it's a table, and sitting at the table is Sophia Loren, and leaning over is Jayne Mansfield, and she's sort of like like that. And